What up, everyone? So, we've got a lot to talk about here tonight. It is very late here. Been out all night. It's like 5 in the morning here. So I just wanted to get this review out, though, because I didn't want to wait too long. I wanted to have this ready so people could see it right when they get out of the movie tomorrow or tomorrow morning if they have already seen it. So I want to make sure and get it out there, but I'm a little tired and a little bit drunk, so we'll see how well we do. First things first, I have the winner of the contest down in the description below. So, rules to the contest that I probably should have mentioned, it was in the description. It is for US entrants only, unfortunately. I'd love for it to be everyone around the world, but like I was saying, shipping boxes these size overseas, depending on where it is, can cost a small fortune. I'd love to do it, but I just can't afford to. So, unless you guys wanted to cover the shipping costs. But yeah. So if your name is down there and you are you're an American and you're in the area, please send me a private message and then you get to pick your prize and that'll get sent out to you. So the funny thing about it is that there was a lot I didn't know about. I should plan a little better for the contest because I found out later on the movie theater I went to, which is called The Lot in Liberty Station, they told us that the people that worked there got a private screening earlier in the week. Now, I didn't know that would happen. I didn't think they were allowed to do that, but they did. So people actually got to see the movie all across the U.S. that works in that theater like 2 or 3 days early. So that kind of threw off my contest because there was a lot of cheating going on. And I knew exactly who they were, too. It was people that knew every single name and in the exact order they happened. It's like, okay, I doubt you guessed that perfectly on your own. So I had to play a little, like, guess and check there, but there was actually more than one winner. I got 2 people that tied, that got 100% in the same amount of guesses, so I think I did. I'll have to double check that, but there may be 2 names down there, so the first one will get the first pick of the lot, and the second one will get the second pick, and so on and so forth. So we have 2 winners there. They'll pick their prizes, but that's fun. But I think I'll start doing that for more movies too. Do a little like trivia stuff on what's going to happen in the movie and give away prizes and things like that. But just have a little more organized because I like that. So other than that, we'll review this movie. We'll talk about this movie. There's going to be a lot of speculation. For anyone who hasn't seen the movie, there are going to be spoilers in this. We're going to talk about the movie in depth here. So if you haven't seen it, please wait till after you see it to watch this video. We're going to talk about the future of what's going to happen. We're going to talk about Avengers 4, what we think is going to happen. Because for those of you who've seen it, know we were ended on a cliffhanger, which was so weird because I thought originally it was going to be Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. That's what it was supposed to be, and they didn't do that because they decided they wanted 2 separate movies, 2 complete stories instead of 1 continuing one. And it's like, well, wait, what did they just do? It seems like they're doing 1 continuing one. It seems like they left us on a cliffhanger and the story has to be continued. It seems like that's exactly what they did, which is really weird. I don't know if they just said that to throw us off and make us think this is the end, but there's no way this could be the end. Like, that's not possible. This has to be continued on to Part 4, which is just very strange. And also, things about the movie, I felt like it was a little too short. It was a long movie in the sense that it was 2 hours and 20 minutes, which, you know, is long. It's not that long, but it could have been so much longer. And I know people are worried about movies being too long, but with that much content in it, I feel like that's one of the times it would have been okay to make the movie a little bit longer because there's just so much shit in there. There's so many characters. There's so many battles. There's so much storyline. I think it would have been okay to make that a really long movie to just keep doing that, because I was so shocked when it ended because it just didn't seem like that long. I was pretty shocked when it just kind of abruptly like cut off. I thought they were going to at least finish more of the story there, but they didn't really get to that. Other than that, overall, it was very awesome. It was great to see. Had a lot of really funny parts in it. Characters that you hadn't got to see interact ever before that finally got to meet. That was really cool. And a lot of fight scenes that were really badass that I really liked a lot. So yeah, but again, I just wish there was more of it. I wish it was a little bit of a longer movie so we could have gone a little bit longer in the fight scenes or some more dialogue here and there. But everything was just like so short, like little tiny snippets of stuff here and there, which is cool. It was still good, but I just wish they could have elaborated on it more. So I'm hoping they do in the 4th one, but we don't know which direction they're taking it because they killed off pretty much everyone. They said about half, but they kill off most of the Avengers and most of the main characters, and we're not really sure where they're going to take it with that. My theory is that these characters are going to be brought back in some way, but we don't know who, we don't know how many. I hope that they somehow bring them all back, finish off the story, and maybe do something else, they'll retire. I don't know. But I'd hate for that one movie to be the only time we see all those characters together. That would really bum me out if that one short movie was all we had, because there was just so little in there. So I hope that they find a way to bring them back for the next one, at least for a little bit of time, so we can have more of those interactions before these characters disappear forever, because that's going to be so sad. This is such a sad thing to see these characters either die off or retire. We're not going to see them in movies anymore. It's such a bummer. So I hope there's more of that in the next one, where we really see, again, maybe all the characters at once, because we still haven't seen that. All the characters in one place at one time doing something. That would be amazing. That being said, my theory from the beginning was that characters are going to die and the Soul Stone is going to bring them back. That's what I always thought would happen. And a lot of people are saying things about the Time Stone, how they're going to reverse time and just not have them die to begin with, which would be cool if they did that. And a lot of other theories have been thrown around with different people. I have different things that could happen. I don't know how plausible they seem, though. The whole Time Stone thing, bringing back time, Thanos would have to technically do that, and I don't see him doing that. But you know, what I realize is I think that Captain Marvel, that movie, when we see it, I think we're going to get a lot of answers in that, because that movie comes out right before Avengers 4. So I have a feeling they did that on purpose, because there's going to be storyline in Captain Marvel that pertains to Avengers 4. That's why I think why we're not seeing it this year, because it has very special information. They want to give us a year to wait. And they did that on purpose, because after Ant-Man and Wasp, we've got to wait a full year for Marvel, the Disney Marvel side of movies, to continue the story, which really sucks. But at least it gives us something to look forward to. So that's my theory that they've been saying for a long time. The Russo brothers and Kevin Feige have both said Captain Marvel is not in the third one. She is in the fourth one, and she plays a very important role. They said that very clearly. So I'm thinking something to do with her power. Maybe she can, because from what I've read in like comics and stuff, Captain Marvel is one of the most powerful beings in all the Marvel universe. So she may be able to take on Thanos and maybe get the glove or something like that. So I have a feeling whatever's going to be in that movie will be leading up into Avengers 4, and that'll clear things up on what the storyline's going to be. Because as of now, I was talking about it with my friends, and it doesn't seem like there's any plausible way to go into the next movie with the information we have. I can't just see anything randomly happening. So, yeah, we'll see. But I think we can all agree that not all those characters are dead for obvious reasons, like Spider-Man. We saw Spider-Man die in that, but he has a movie coming out next year. And like Black Panther, they already have his sequel coming out. And did Black Widow die? No, she didn't die. But there's other characters in there that did die, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the whole Guardians of the Galaxy team except for Rocket died, and there's no way, because they got Guardians 3 coming out. And like, yeah, technically, they could just start a new Guardians team, but I highly doubt they would do that. So it just seems very obvious that a lot of these characters are not going to remain dead. And I can't imagine that happening. But the thing about it is, some of them may remain dead. Some of them may get brought back. Some of them may not. We just don't know. So there's a lot of speculation to be had there. Now, the only ones that we know are for sure dead and probably not coming back are Loki and Heimdall. I think that's it. And Gamora is the only one we saw actually die and not just turn to dust. But I do not think she is dead. I don't know if she died at all to begin with. Maybe she's still alive down at the bottom of that cliff. I don't know that, but I know for sure she's going to be brought back because, same thing, the director of Guardians 3 was talking about how Star-Lord is not going to be the main character in Guardians 3, how Gamora is going to be the main character in Guardians 3. So that can't really happen if she's dead, so she has to come back in some way. So far, the only two is Heimdall and Loki that are like permanently dead. Vision, some people could argue that, but I don't think he's permanently dead either, because I think his life source was kind of coming from the Soul Mind Stone, so if they can get that back, I think they could easily bring Vision back to life. Also, we were speculating that all the work that they were doing in Wakanda on Vision, that they were getting all his information, that maybe they can somehow keep him alive through AI and artificially build him a new body and keep him alive that way. Because like he was saying early in the movie, they may not need the stone to keep him alive, and maybe they got enough of his information into their like computers there where they can build him his own body again and keep him alive. So same thing. I think there's easy ways to bring back those characters, but I think Heimdall and Loki are like the only ones that are for sure, like they're probably just dead. So yeah. Let's see, what other speculation do we have to talk about? So, other things that were kind of weird about this movie, there were characters we didn't see. So the directors and stuff said that we were going to see every character that had ever appeared in the Marvel movie before this, but that wasn't true. Ant-Man and Hawkeye were completely absent. Ant-Man, I'm not that surprised, but Hawkeye, he's one of the original Avengers. He wasn't in it at all. That was kind of surprising because they confirmed in earlier interviews that both of those characters didn't play a big role but would be in it. So that was weird. But I'm guessing we'll get the answers to that in Ant-Man and Wasp. I'm guessing that Hawkeye is in that movie. That just makes sense. So we'll find out why they weren't in it in that movie. But it's just a bummer to have everyone but those two. Like, that just seemed kind of weird to me. But, you know, no big deal. So yeah, they weren't in it. And then other characters we didn't see were the Asgardian characters. So the ones from Thor Ragnarok. At the beginning of the movie, you see Thor's ship getting attacked by Thanos' ship, and he's on board walking over all these dead Asgardians. But there's some pretty main characters we don't see dead on the ground. And that's Valkyrie, and Korg, and Miek. So those were the characters towards the end. The Valkyrie was the black chick that held up Thor. Korg is the rock guy, and Miek is that little cockroach guy. But they were all there on the ship. And then something else that people assume they just died somewhere on the ship. But Kevin Feige has said that they have a future in the franchise after Thor Ragnarok. So there's no way they could be dead then if they have a future. So it's assumed that they somehow escaped the ship through a pod or something like that and didn't stay on and are somewhere else safe, because it says those characters have a future in it, and everyone loved those characters, so they'll probably come back, but we don't know what happened. But I don't think those characters died. They just escaped narrowly, so just something to think about, that that probably happened. What was the other thing? And yeah, a lot of it was more just speculation on which characters, even the ones that have died, which ones will stay dead and which ones won't. Some people are saying Vision might stay dead. Some people were saying that Scarlet Witch might stay dead because she's just too overpowered in the Marvel Universe, so they might keep her down. The Guardians won't stay dead. They'll come back to life. Spider-Man will come back to life. Black Panther will come back to life. Doctor Strange. People weren't sure about him because there's nothing else in his contract, and there are no other movies slated, so they might keep him dead. So we don't know. And another speculation was that if they're bringing people back with the Soul Stone, that at a certain point the Soul Stone's going to get destroyed, so they can only bring back a certain amount. So a lot of theories being thrown around that are plausible, they make sense, but we're just not really sure what it's going to come to be. But other than that, my overall thoughts of the movie were great. I liked the lines, I liked the comedy of it, I liked the action scenes. It was really cool, it was really surprising, and there were a lot of really emotional parts that really like tug at your heartstrings. And there was a part where I thought Tony Stark was going to die, and I almost cried, because I was like, I really don't want Iron Man to die, because I want him to be in the next movie. I'd be so bummed if he wasn't. So I'm glad he didn't. And there were pretty much, if you notice, the remaining core people that are left over are all the Avengers. The main Avengers. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, as we assume he's alive out there somewhere. So yeah, that's like the core Avengers right there. The original team that's all still alive, which is kind of funny. And then a lot of the Wakanda people, a lot of them survived, just not Black Panther. And yeah, so those are the surviving teams. But I forgot where I was going with that. So yeah, it was really cool to see all these character interactions. I really liked it a lot. I was just kind of bummed out that it just ended so abruptly. And that's what makes me think that it's a continuation. Like, they usually just don't end that abruptly, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's a complete movie. It's like, no, it's very clear that they left us on a cliffhanger, and it's going to continue into part 2, which is Avengers 4. So that whole bullshit about it not being 2 parts, it totally is. Like, what? How could this not be? But yeah, it just ended on such a just dead note. It was going so quick, and then all this was happening, and the people were disappearing, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? And when are they going to explain this? And it was like, oh, just kidding, it's the end. It's like, fuck, like, fuck. And then all we got, the teaser at the end, was the Captain Marvel, was Nick Fury paging Captain Marvel. And that's what leads me to believe that because they said she plays a big part in Avengers, so that leads me to believe that her storyline is going to tie in very nicely with this. And I'm looking forward to that movie. It seems cool. And she's going to have to be the main character of Avengers 4, taking care of Thanos. So that's the best speculation I have from all these bits and pieces that I got out there here and there. And then just people who might stay around, might not, based on contracts and based on sequels. But that's the best we could do. At the end of the day, we know pretty much nothing. So there's not much more than that. But the sequel is supposedly being called Avengers Infinity Gauntlet. That's not 100% confirmed, but that was in an interview with Zoe Saldana. She kind of let it slip that it was going to be Infinity Gauntlet. So we're not sure. She may have just had no idea what she was talking about. That's a possibility. But that's kind of the word on the street. That's what it's being called, the Infinity Gauntlet. Which doesn't really... I wouldn't say it was a teaser or anything, so maybe that's not it. But we'll see. I'm not sure when they're going to officially release that title. But I have a feeling they're not going to till next year when they do Captain Marvel. Which is kind of a long fucking time to wait for that. But, you know, whatever. So, yeah. That's my speculation for it. And overall, I think I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. It did a good job. I really liked it. There's little minor things it could have improved on. A lot of the CGI in the movie was bad. Like, some of it was great. Like, Thanos looked good. He looked legit. Most of those characters that are all CGI looked legit. But there were certain parts in the background that looked awful. When Banner was in the Hulkbuster costume and it just showed his head, it just looked so bad. It's like they put a lot of work into some stuff and the other one was left to like lower people in the company, and it just looked really bad. So they could have cleaned that up, but I'm sure it was a time constraint thing. But they definitely should have put a little spit shine on certain things like that. And the same thing, like I said, I think they tried to crunch too much into a too short movie. They could have expanded it a little bit, like 2 hours and 20 minutes, expanded to like maybe 2 hours and 40 minutes. Like, that's not that much of a difference. And I think people would be more than willing to sit through it because it was not boring by any means. There's something to keep your attention the whole movie. So there was always something going on, and there's so many characters. I think of any time to extend a movie, I think that would be a time. But they did say Avengers 4 is going to be longer than this one. So that'll probably be pushing 3 hours, if not even a little more. So I'm kind of excited for Avengers 4, and kind of not. It kind of depends on what they do. Some of these theories out there are just that they're going to wipe the whole slate clean of the Marvel Universe, and some people are saying they're just going to go back in time and just restart the whole Marvel Universe with different actors and stuff like that, which would be stupid. So if that's what they do, I'm not excited for it. But if they bring these characters back somehow and then go fight Thanos again and get them all in the same room, that I'd be excited for. That I'd be super amped for. But it just kind of depends. Other than that, most things were good. I'm always a fan of Robert Downey Jr. He was always my favorite to watch. And him and Benedict Cumberbatch were really cool as a duo. Like them like feeding off each other. Like, that was really cool. I like that a lot. And the Guardians didn't get that much into the real Avengers that much. They weren't really there. They were kind of out in space, so they were all in the same movie, but it was kind of a bummer that not everyone even like totally crossed paths, all in the same movie, but I'd still like to see one where they were all in the same place. Like Civil War, they were all in that one fight scene at the airport. That was badass. Now, I was hoping that there'd be something like that in this one where all the heroes are in one place fighting side by side again, but sadly, we did not get that, and I kind of have a feeling we won't get that in number 4, depending on who survives and who they bring back. So there's a lot of up-in-the-air stuff here. But yeah, overall, good movie. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. But let me know what all you think. Let's hear the rest of your speculation. So I got some people that were great guessers on this, and some people that were definitely cheating on my contest, but I had to nip that in the bud. It was pretty obvious who the cheaters were. So let's get more of the speculation. What do you guys think is going to happen now? Who do you think is going to stay dead? Who do you think is coming back? What do you think is going to happen in Avengers 4? Let's get the discussion going. Let's talk about it in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the movie, all the deaths, everything. Let's hear it all in the comments. Let's get a discussion going. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Love you all. Peace.